So if you're not able to bring our child to grade tech, how can the program come to children?
Well, two different ways. Either in the school, where you would talk to the teacher, you talk to administration, and we get a meeting set up, and I pitch the program.
Okay.
And then we are working on developing a greater staff that could travel to greater areas. Right now, we're pretty isolated to Nassau County, just over the Queens border, just over the Nassau border. But we're looking to expand staff so that we could work with anybody. Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah, that's what my music school does. And again, I do send people out, but I don't want to send anybody out that I can't trust 100%. So we're taking our time with the hiring process.
Okay.
Environment in a flow state and how environment might affect somebody in a flow state?
Sure. Well, if the environment is not conducive to learning, you're going to increase the difficulty of getting into a flow state. You're talking about a
I'm
closed.
just thinking about, students that really like what they do, but then the environment might not be conducive to what they do, so it might not show that they're actually enjoying a task.
And that's what I mean on the individuals, the case studies that I put up there. You notice most of them are older because most of our older classes are more calm, and it allows people to really work on what they're doing. The younger classes we have are very chaotic. Because regardless of how much you love what you're doing, you also sometimes just have a really set want to just run around, or things like that. So it, we set up all of our settings for the purpose there. So when they're in the culinary arts class, they're in the kitchen, sitting around the counter, and that's where we go to for staffing. So we want the environment to be as conducive to learning as possible. And we'll increase our culinary, our children's foods art class has 11 individuals in it, and we have the instructor and 11 staff in that class, just so that the individuals that are more active, are moving around, somebody can work with them to get them to focus on what they're doing so that other people can focus on what they're doing as well.
It seems like it's always going to be about forming a balance, one way or another. Scott was telling me a story about a tour he was giving a couple years ago before some artistic adaptations were made at the family center. He's giving a tour, and all of a sudden the kid starts crying because the walls are just white and black. Yeah. And he kind of thought he was.
I said to the dad, "Why is he crying?" He goes, "I think he thinks he's at a hospital." I was like, "Well, if you're coming in here with the mindset that this is an adverse place, we're never going to get to a point where you're calm enough to do. So, we had to change the layout of the place. We had to change things around, make it more inviting, make it more colorful, so that people coming in knew that they were there for a good time. It wasn't, what room am I going to walk into next, and somebody can give me a shot."
But also balancing it out with keeping things calm enough so that there aren't extraordinary distractions to somebody getting in that state. So that's why I say it's more about a balance than one side or the other. Any other questions?
I have a question about as far as I find some difficulty finding between the finding something challenging but not too challenging, so kind of matching the abilities and the challenge there. Some of the individuals that I support trying to find that balance where it's something that is challenging enough for them, but it doesn't create that anxiety for them, and that's one of my toughest obstacles.
It's a tremendous challenge.
Yeah.
I make it all look pretty easy but that's because of a color and letter matching system going on. If I didn't have that, you and I would be having, I don't know, man. You got any ideas? Because I don't. Yeah. Do you have a specific question, a specific scenario?
Not in general. I mean, there's a few people that I work with that are just trying to find that specific task. I work more on the employment side of things, so trying to find the right opportunity for someone that is challenging enough, but not because I've had someone that just wasn't able to succeed in a few of their roles because it was something that just, I don't know if it was too mundane for them because it was a simpler task, and then once they had a complex task that they wanted, he failed at that as well. So it's trying to find that exact balance for someone, and that's.
Your position is especially difficult. You're in an area where the unemployment rate is around 85% right now. So you're just trying to, maybe I could find something that brings it down from 85 to 84. Yeah. Especially challenging job. I commend you for doing it. Grab a card. Okay. And give me a call. Okay. And we can talk about some specifics, and I'll do a little analysis with you.
Okay. It's also tough in that setting too, because you can't modify the environment.
Yeah.
You can't change the task. So you're literally, it's not differentiating a task, it's finding a whole nother task for them to do.
Yeah.
With that type of thing, it's really, it's along with the challenge, there's also equal that interest part. So, it's finding first and foremost, I would say what they like. Yeah. What is something they're going to enjoy no matter what, and then try to find a space in that arena
Yeah.
that is appropriate.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, this is a referral that we've gotten recently where they came in with the history of family at these jobs, so that's where I'm trying to get back to the point of finding the discovery as far as what exactly is his main passion and interest in order to get him in that right environment.
Prior to taking on social programming, I did transition services, and one of the things that we always did, we would start working with individuals, in elementary school, and we would have a lot of kids that would say, well, I want to be a fireman. Why do you want to be a fireman? Is it because you like the color red? Because, you can also work at Friendly's if you like color red. Is it because you like helping people? So so it's really drilling down on what they like about what they want to do, and figuring out, things that still meet that intrinsic motivation for them to like that, but maybe even in a different arena. We have a lot of kids that want to be video game programmers. Well, video game programmers are playing 5 minutes of a game over and over and over and over again. It's not the best thing in the world. So, what do you like? You like video games. All right, so what can we find for you that will be challenging in that realm so you still enjoy it without putting you in a scenario where you're going to fail because it's not what you think it is.
You're up first.
I had a situation where this person was compulsively drawing. You couldn't even find a piece of paper in the house to write a phone number.
Yeah.
Any piece of paper was pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And they were interesting. People in goatees and then like half human, half machine. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, within a week of learning how to read, they stopped drawing. Like within a month, it was nothing. Do you ever come across things like that? And if you do, what do you do with an odd situation like that?
So what caused him to stop drawing is maybe he found something he liked better, which is reading. And that's the natural,
Purposeful engagement.
Yeah, me and Lee were talking before he came in, like, I used to love football. I used to watch football all the time.
Yeah.
Now I got 2 kids and 3 jobs, and I don't watch football anymore.
Oh.
Not that because I found something that's more useful for my time. Exactly. Just guessing, maybe the drawing was he would create fantastical characters or fantasy characters, and maybe he found through the book he can.
But he doesn't read a lot. But it does seem like that part of the brain overtook that other, and it almost like it was genius. It's a sad thing.
I can't tell you the last time I sat down at the piano and practiced for an hour like I used to do when I was a kid. And that's because I'm so passionate about this. This took over. It's a different passion.
It is
and
a
if you look at this in a 2-month window, then it's very easy to see the drawing has gone away and there's a level of failure of some kind there.
Yes.
But just expand that, open it up. At some point, the reading, the purposeful engagement will decrease. Everything falls off a little bit, and then the drawing opportunity will be there.
So that
Maybe it'll come back.
of passion can just be transported to some other
I
area.
think.
Hopefully it's that
Well,
same level of passion. Now it's demographics and political demographics.
forget it. Just go to. Don't worry about it. Go to the flow stuff. Go to the flow stuff. Challenge, skill, balance is the activity. Not so difficult to create anxiety, nor so easy to create boredom. Action, awareness, merging. Is there autonomous action? Like with the drawing, you see autonomous action all the time. Are the goals clear? Is the feedback unambiguous? With art, it's very, very easy to see. Is there a sense of concentration? Is there a sense of control? Just, you look at those 6 things, and if they're all working with each other, that's where it'll go. And that, listen, I'm probably in a flow state right now. Challenge. This activity is not so hard for me that well, there was some anxiety before. Who am I kidding here? Not so hard that it creates anxiety and I'm ready to run out of the room, and I'm definitely not bored. I do not need to organize myself to respond to you. That's autonomous. Action, awareness, merging. My goals are clear, other than the handful of people that walked out in the middle. I've kept everybody for the most part in their seat. I'm getting great unambiguous feedback from you and other members of the audience. I have concentration and I have a sense of control going on. And for that reason, I have to keep on checking the clock. I don't know how much time is going by. That feeling of separation from oneself, well, I'm not thinking about all the other stress. I run a business. Stressful. I'm not thinking about that stuff right now. And I would venture to say that there is some serotonin, dopamine flow going on in my own body right now, although, we're not about to draw blood and prove it.
Yeah. What do you call that again, that state, that last thing on the flow?
Autotelic experience,
Autotelic
which comes from the Greek auto auto is within, oh, no, forgive me,
That's right.
I blanked
I'll
on
look that up
it.
myself.
Telic is within yourself, and auto is in motion, is working. There was a more, Webster's has something perfect, and I apologize, it slips my
Sorry to
mind.
throw you off on that.
It's all good, it's all good.
Fascinating, the concept.
Is there an average amount of time you allocate for, say, book one for the children, or, I mean, I know they're all different, but
Yeah.
do you see an average for?
It's just different. It's just different. It's simply different.
For range?
So, yeah, so I think I have a good way to explain it. I'm a real, people tell me not to say it like this, but I do. I'm a real talented piano player, but I'm not a very talented guitarist. I need to put in serious effort to play the guitar. It does two things that are completely different. My hands just work on a piano. They move properly. They do everything that they need to do, but guitar is a labor for me, even though I play it. Why is it like that for me? I have absolutely no idea. My hands just work with the piano better. So I get some kids that come in and for one reason or another, they find themselves in the right proper positions. They're able to buzz through book one. Sometimes we skip into book three, but with kids that are, you know very well, that are all over the place. And we have to say, not only do we want to have this finger push on this note, we want to have this one ready to push on this note. So your positioning matters, your posture matters, your feet being still matters. Then we're in book one, definitely book one. And we could be there for a long time if a lot of other goals are there. If many non-musical goals are available to us, like I just gave a little list of things that we could target through a program like this especially. Does that answer the question? Okay.
So I'm a teacher and I have a pilot ADL program, so now our kids who would normally transition into other programs, because we used to stop at age 12, now we go to age 21. And I'm finding that it's like very hard for my program to let go of kind of like academics for academic sake. They're still like pushing that, but like I would like to see my kids like in a flow state where they're doing like cooking with math and drawing and things that like bring them joy, because after 6 or 7 years we see that like academics like traditionally just aren't for them. Do you have like any like pointers on how to like speak to parents about it, kind of like push my programs to say like, hey, like we need to change the quality of life for our kids, and just kind of like this is the best thing for them to learn so that they have a better quality of life, instead of like sitting them down with worksheets and going, hey, here's like 5 years of me trying to do 1 + 1 with you.
So this is, if this was somebody else's program, it would be the same answer, just so we know.
Okay.
But the exact problem that you're having is exactly why I work my tail off to get my entire curriculum up onto this platform with a huge IEP goal bank, so that you can just say, okay, here's Bobby's IEP. Bobby's IEP says that we need to work on strengthening the second finger so that he can write, right? That requires somebody to stabilize their hands and isolate their fingers accurately. Hand stabilization and finger isolation is the piano. So I almost wish that I had a different example. That's not my own, that hopefully will lead to a sale, of course. But that's my answer to the question. And the saving grace, maybe, for somebody, because you're only seeing what's going on inside the school, right? You're only seeing what's going on in your classroom. That's when people like Scott come into the picture, because at least you're not seeing them after school. You're not seeing them on the weekend. So while you're sitting there, you have this view of them like, they're still working on this math problem here. It's not going to help them at all in their life. There are other things going on outside of school, after school, and weekends. So don't be that sad.
I can speak to your question as well. In a different lifetime, I wrote ADL curriculum that was used all over the East Coast, and we created programming that focused on those skills, because exactly what you said, like how we can work on multiplication for the next 6 years, or we could teach you how to use a calculator and spend that time doing all that other stuff. What I found was 2 things. So the children are, for lack of a better term, conditioned to sit at their desk and do the ABC. And from the time they were in preschool or early intervention, a lot of times it's, we're doing a work, sit down across from me, make eye contact. So now you're coming along and you're like, no, get up. Don't sit there. We're going to go do this. We're going to do that. The second thing is a lot of the skills you're trying to teach are chores. There's no, I don't, I would talk to 6th graders, and the intrinsic value of learning how to wash clothes doesn't exist until you're 19 and you're living on your own and you don't have any clothes not to wear. So you're looking at it from 1,000 miles down the road saying, these are skills you're going to need. And they're looking at it as like, my mom's got this, my dad's got this, my grandma takes care of this, why do I need to spend time doing this? When all my life I've been told to sit right here and do that. So how do you get them to buy in? It goes back to what I was saying in the family center, it's interest-based. So a presentation of comparative shopping, let's say, and this might be higher for, higher than a sixth grader can do, but comparative shopping, they're not going to present to a group of let's say 11th graders. This is why it's beneficial when you go to buy laundry detergent that you look at the other size laundry detergent, the price and the size of the bottle and how many loads it doesn't mean anything to them. But it does mean something to them when you talk about you've got maybe $10 for Christmas and here's 5 things that you need to buy. So you can buy this $9 thing or you could buy 2 $5 things, and really bringing it down to a level that they get it, because you're looking at it on a overarching, these are life skills that you're going to need your entire life. They're looking at it, this is what my mom tries to get me to do at home. I don't want to do this at home and at school. So just take a step back and look at it. How can you make it seem enticing for them to get involved? And I always used to say to the students, because we had, the school I worked at had a higher track of students who were college bound. I would say, like, you guys get mad at me for teaching this right now. 10 years from now, when you're sitting in your house, you're going to think, hey, Mr. Marble was right. And it ends up I was. I know I'm going to be right, because I was in your place.
I have a question on what happens if they get overstimulated once they get in the zone. Is that possible?
Sure. I've seen, you're welcome, I've seen kids be in the zone and then play a wrong note and just scream. Just scream like there's an oncoming car. Yeah. Well, yeah. Because they're so into it, and also it's in many cases so difficult for the students to engage in a state like that because they need to be guided into it over the course of a long period of time.